Oh man, it is that time of year. In just a couple of days, we get to stuff our faces with turkey, mashed potatoes, gravy, pumpkin pie, and so much more. And not to mention the waxing the Commanders are going to get from the Dallas Cowboys. We'll talk about a lot of what happened last week and so much more in a preview going into this week. All coming up next on episode 193 of the Kirby on Sports podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in to episode 193 of the Kirby on Sports podcast. Again, I'm your host, Josh Kirby. It's that time of year. It's just a different feeling, ladies and gentlemen, with Thanksgiving right around the corner, getting into the holiday season. Nothing better than that. Once again, welcome in episode 193. Thanks to all of our sponsors, PM Plus Reserves, Shenandoah Primitives, Dr. Dave Leadership Corporation, Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate, Barrett, Pest, and Termite Services, Mark Lynch with Guild Mortgage, Shenandoah Music, and the official energy drink of the Kirby on Sports podcast, Don't Sleep Energy. Make sure you check them out, don'tsleepenergy.com. Use promo code KOS Podcast for 12% off your order every single time. Let's not waste any more time. A man who made the trek from the outskirts of Washington, D.C., in the midst of all the rain and all the Thanksgiving traffic. And he is right across from me, the weapon, Dan Dembski. How are you, sir?
Ready to stuff my face in 2 days, I'll tell you that much. And enjoy some really good football, man. It was a great week this past week in the NFL. Can't wait to talk about it with the three-man booth.
The three-man booth, and we welcome in the third member of our team, Carlos, the Swiss Army knife, who will be making a lot of fun of me, a lot of fun at me today, probably for this bad intro, but because the Commanders suck. Carlos, how are you, sir?
Well done, Kirby. Well done. Well done. Well done.
It was
we didn't derail the show for
well done, sir. It got a little dicey at the end there, but you know what? You pulled it through. We finally got a good intro out of you.
Energy.
It's about time, man. I've been working on you for the whole season, and I think I'm finally starting to rub off on you.
Well, let's just hope this podcast doesn't get derailed when
it'll get derailed. Don't worry about that.
For the pity party sponsored by the Kirby on Sports podcast.
No, this is your pity party. I am not attending this pity party.
I'm sorry for encouraging him. I want to apologize in advance.
Yes,
to
Dan did encourage me. He is sitting right across from me.
In our group chat,
I empowered him.
Dan empowered Kirby while he's having his little pity party, and like Kirby always does, he gets an inch, he takes a mile, and he just overdid it like he always does. But it's fine, it's okay.
We'll let him have this week, but this will be it. No more.
We're gonna have an intervention. It's fine.
That's right.
But a good intro. I got a gold star from the Swiss Army knife, Carlos Martinez, and with that, we are getting right into how our teams did this past week. Then we'll get into the breeze, and then the Kirby on Sports PickEm. And I'm not sure if Carlos did this, but I added in 3 more pick'ems, but I don't think it's on the list there for Thanksgiving.
No, because I didn't ask for those, and good old cream cheese over here decided he was going to give me information I didn't care about.
Yeah, I added in 3 additional pick'ems for Thanksgiving food, but
He's hoping he can get back in the race. That's the only reason he did it.
yeah, by doing the Thanksgiving food.
Well, I may or may not have sabotaged him this week. Muhahaha, not really, but I may have sabotaged him just by circumstance because I made him have to pick the Commanders this week. We'll talk about it during the pick.
Well, I was about to say if that was any other, then, but yeah, I am contractually.
We'll discuss it during the pick'em segment.
All right. So here we go. Let's talk about our teams getting right in, starting with Thursday night. And Dan, obviously a Ravens win, but unfortunately Mark Andrews out for the season. But
pause on that.
Oh yes, no, I'm sorry. There is a possibility.
It's slim, though, but there's a possibility.
But regardless,
so you're saying there's a chance.
But regardless, let me just preface it by saying the Ravens are looking good, but it seems like every week there's a key injury or something.
No, it's every time they play on Thursday night.
Yeah, every time it's a Thursday night game.
Abolish the Thursday night games. We don't need these. We only need them for Thanksgiving. After that, we don't need Thursday night games.
I'm all for that. I'm all for that being the end.
Oh, done for. There's a Black Friday game this year, so I think.
Yeah, okay, but Black Friday again, it's different. It's a holiday week. I'm okay with a Black Friday game.
Having one like celebratory week where this happens, but not every week.
Yeah, I mean, most of the Thursday night games suck. Amazon's not the greatest in terms of, I just don't think Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit work well together. I just don't think they have the right chemistry.
Ideal.
And then also just for the health of the players, man, like it's just so many key injuries keep happening on Thursday night unnecessarily. It's like, why do we really need Thursday night games? Like we get enough football on Sunday as it is. I don't need a Thursday night game. I hate Thursday night games in all honesty.
But we did have fun at FedEx on Thursday night.
Yes, we did. We did.
Despite the outcome. But
Johnny had a lot of fun on Thursday night.
For you, I mean, in terms of the game, you did not have a great time. Like the actual game, the actual football that was being played. But in terms of the rest of the experience,
that experience though on Thursday night,
it was fun. It was a lot
of fun. Get off of work, play cornhole, like if you're a working man, but we planned this around, but
Yeah. But so, anyways, let's talk about the Ravens now.
Yeah, but the Ravens getting the win, obviously, but Mark Andrews injured. But the Ravens still look pretty good. And just my thing, they're number 1 in the AFC right now, and I hope they continue to look as good as they are, and I just hope nobody else gets injured along the way, because just in my mind, it feels like a lot of Ravens players are going down with injuries.
Well, they've been better this year than years past. Certainly, they haven't lost nearly as much. Because if you remember the first game of the season, the first couple weeks, it was pretty rough. They were losing guys left and right, but I think they've gotten pretty healthy for the most part. So that's why this Mark Andrews injury to me is kind of like an outlier. Or has been an outlier on the season for the Ravens, who usually by now are missing most of their roster. So the fact that, or most of their starters. So the fact that they've stayed to this point, and of course Lamar got hurt in the game, but he came back. I knew he was going to come back. It didn't look that serious, but so thankfully he was able to continue to play. Because I'm like, if he's not out there, we can't beat anybody. I'm not a Tyler Huntley guy, so knock on wood, they've stayed pretty healthy to this point. This is the part of the season now where the last, little back end here of the season, they got to stay healthy. They got to make sure they take care of themselves. And now having that extra rest after the Thursday night game is also key as well for that to continue. So now I know Harbaugh mentioned today that there's an outside possibility Andrews could come back. I think if he's not, a high percentage, you don't bring him back in the regular season at all. I think, if this team does make a run, they do get in the postseason, they're certainly going to need him at that point. If he's feeling well enough to, I'd say if he's 85, 90%, you probably try to bring him back. But that's one of those injuries too, that it seems like it's a high risk type of re-injury probability. So maybe they don't decide to bring him back. We'll see what happens, but you never know. Everybody recovers differently from these things, and there's been a ton of Achilles injuries and just a lot of lower leg injuries this year. I feel like more than any other season, and I think that's partly due to just how the rules have sort of evolved over time to outlaw a lot of or change a lot of how defenders have to tackle, which it's already gotten hard enough. So I will start by commenting that I think people who say they want to outlaw that type of tackle, to me, it's like I don't agree with that. I know it's easy for John Harbaugh to sit there and say that when one of your main receivers goes down with that type of injury, but it's like defenders already have a hard enough time trying to make tackles. You're just making the game worse if you continue to limit what they can do, how they can bring offensive players down. So I don't necessarily agree with that.
Not to mention the same sort of tackle happened to Florida State's quarterback who just absolutely probably wrecked his career.
Yeah, you have to.
So we're looking at that tackle on the pro and college level.
Yeah. It's just hard because it's easy to break it down at half speed or 70% speed, whatever. When those guys are going full speed, they're not thinking about how they're going to tackle players, especially when they're trying to bring them down while they're moving. So, I just think it's too difficult of a thing to quote unquote outlaw and to also enforce. So, I don't know. It's just hard to play defense in the NFL now. There's just so many rules and stuff you can't do. So, it would just be too much to add another one. But no, I think the Ravens came out and they took care of business. They did what they had to do, and it really started with running the football. Gus Edwards scored the first touchdown of the game, and unlike in prior weeks, I felt like they stuck with the run throughout the game, mixing in Keaton Mitchell as well, the second string running back, and then a lot of Lamar Jackson running the football as well, who had 9 carries. And defensively, I thought the Ravens were very solid. They did a great job, I think. We know how many weapons the Bengals have. Of course, we all know it starts with Jamar Chase. He only had 2 catches in this game. He did have a touchdown, but it was, I believe that was late in the game. Yeah, that was in the 4th quarter, and by then it was sort of a garbage time touchdown anyway. So the secondary was fabulous against this Cincinnati team. And I thought up until Joe Burrow got injured.
Yeah, okay. I was about to say, like, have we gone this far in this game and not brought up the Joe Burrow injury yet?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Done for the season, non-contact throwing. But then we found out later there was that video of, I guess it was
him with a brace or something.
Even later, it was before the game that everybody was talking about it. And then obviously then the injury happened in the game, and that's when everybody was like, okay, so there was something wrong. Because again, there was the play beforehand.
He did get hit, and
he got hit the play beforehand very awkwardly. So there's maybe that, but the NFL's investigating why he was wearing a brace beforehand, why he was seen like in the video, and they're just investigating that injury in total to see if there was any shenanigans by the Bengals in terms of not reporting it.
It definitely could be, but I felt like the Ravens did a good job when he was playing as well. I feel like they did a good job of limiting the big plays, because we all know that this team can really they strike on the deep plays all.
Well, I guess we wouldn't really know too much on how well, like, because all in all, like the Bengals or Joe Burrow got hurt on the touchdown pass. That's when like it really like flared up, whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
Or that's when the ligament, I guess, tore in his hand is when he threw that pass. So at that point, again, they had just scored. It was a tied game, I believe. So I don't necessarily know. We'll just never really know how that game would have gone had Burrow like stayed in.
Yeah, you are correct. It was a 10-7 game at that point. Pretty early in the second quarter. But yeah, I think, but I thought up to that point, I thought the Ravens defense had played pretty well. The offense kind of got stagnant after that first drive, and it was sort of reminiscent of how it's been, the past few weeks with this team, where they sort of have, they drive down the field and score early in the game, but they kind of go cold after that. And I felt like they did a good job of bouncing back and, really dominated after that point. Now, I thought Jake Browning came in and played pretty well for Joe Burrow. 8 of 14 with a touchdown.
I've never heard of him.
Yeah, he went to
yeah, man, these backup quarterbacks, man. It's not
where did they get these guys? It's just crazy. But
I mean, the Browns too.
There's a lot of mediocrity in the league right now. So
yeah, Brady's got a good point when he says that. So yeah, I thought he played okay, really. I mean, given the circumstances. I know that obviously the Bengals really stuck with the run after that, and I thought Joe Mixon had a pretty nice game, but I think all in all, the biggest difference in this game was the Ravens defense got a lot of pressure throughout the game. When Burrow was playing,
surprise, the Cincinnati Bengals can't stop any pressure.
Yeah, it's been the same old story for 3 or 4 years now with
Yeah.
this offensive line. They still haven't been able to fix it. So
despite the fact that they have invested so much in that offensive line, it's still not any better.
Exactly. So, and I've been critical of the Ravens at times for not getting enough pressure in their losses. I felt like they did a good job in this game, and coming off a short week, I felt like their defense was just really had a lot of energy in this game, and that was good to see. Yeah, and I think offensively they just they did what they do best, which is start with the run, the play action pass, had a lot of success, and I thought Lamar did a great job of spreading the ball around to several different receivers, to Odell Beckham and Zay Flowers, and Nelson Aguilar had that touchdown as well, which was a sort of a crazy carom, if you will, to go back to that. Was that? I think it was. I don't know if it was Clemson or what game it was, like a while ago in college, but there was like this weird carom. Anyway, kind of a lucky play, but you take those touchdowns when you can get them. It's part of the game. So I just feel like the Ravens came in and took care of business like they had to do. We knew coming in this was a must-win game for the Bengals, and it is unfortunate that Joe Burrow gets hurt. I still think the Ravens would have won this football game. I think it would have been more competitive with Burrow out there. There's no question about it. But
Absolutely.
I don't know, with the pressure they were getting on Burrow as well, it just makes you wonder how long, like how long Burrow would have been able to thrive under that pressure as well. So, yeah, I don't have much else to say.
Know.
There's a question now that you brought up Joe Burrow. Like, what does this mean for Cincinnati now?
Their season's cooked.
Yeah,
their season's
pretty
cooked.
much.
They're also 5-5, so yeah, they're done. They're done.
Yeah, and all what is it? All 5 of their losses are AFC losses. So they're cooked. Like it'll be really hard for them to, get the tiebreakers needed to be able to even catch the wild card. Like they'd have to run the table, and there's no way they're running the table with whatever the heck their quarterback's name is. I don't even know his name.
Jake Browning. Yeah.
Jake Browning.
Let me.
Where is he even from?
I think he went to Washington State.
These back
West Coast kid.
Washington.
Can I just touch on these backup quarterbacks? Dorian Thompson.
Robinson or whatever.
I've never heard of him. Tim.
I didn't either. I've never heard of him.
Sam
Howell. Who the heck is this kid?
Oh yeah,
he should be a backup quarterback.
Yeah,
he will be. He will be eventually. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the way this season's going, but like Tim Boyle.
You guys just okay. We'll discuss your team in a little bit. Wait your turn, Kirby.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about. Keep Sam Howell out your mouth right now.
Well, he started.
In fairness, I did make the Sam Howell joke, so.
Well, it was funny, so well done.
Yeah, but anyways, it's just interesting how these quarterbacks are getting hurt. I mean, Tommy DeVito too. That's one, and we'll talk about.
I think I saw somewhere that this is the most this year broke the NFL record for most backup quarterbacks that have had to start.
Yeah, something
like that. I don't know. There's been a lot of QB injuries. There's been a lot of backup quarterbacks. There's been a lot of bad quarterback play because of it.
Brutal. Yeah,
it's been a brutal year for the league in terms of quarterback play, but but also this feels like the most wild season just because we can't get a feel on anybody right now.
It's wide open, and I think that's why we've struggled to who's the MVP. I mean, I guess it's
right now Jalen Hurts is the favorite because of last night, but we'll discuss that also.
He wasn't great.
He wasn't great last night either. So I'm why is everybody
absolutely not? Absolutely not.
He hasn't looked great. Well, I gotta wait my turn.
I think that's what makes it harder too. You've had a lot of injuries.
He's got to wait his turn.
You've had a lot of bad receiver play. I know Carlos is going to touch on that, but because his team has the worst case of it, his secondary team, I should say. It's pathetic.
My primary team has great receivers.
Yeah, no, they have one of the best groups in the NFL. So consider yourself lucky there. But yeah, we've seen a lot of bad receivers. And just I think in the NFL in general, just the running game is not. It hasn't worked across the league much this year.
But I also attribute that a lot to there's just like it's also a lineman thing. I just think there's just so much. There's a lack. Like Brady even said it during his interview with Stephen A. Is there's a lack of good coaching, and there's a lack of player development happening in the league now because so many of these kids are just they play
immediately
basic
expected to be great
system in college, and then they come to the NFL and they're just not prepared for the NFL, and that's why you see so many of them not work out because throughout high school up to through college, you're not brought up through a pro system. You're brought up through a very basic spread, offense that just doesn't do the things that are needed in the NFL. And it goes with quarterback play. It goes with lineman play, which affects running backs. And, it's not a lack of running back talent. There's so much running back talent that's why running backs aren't getting paid. You can find a great running back in the 7th round nowadays. Yeah. I mean, Isaiah Pacheco's a 7th rounder, but it's just there's just this gap that needs to be figured out, and it stems from we need to get coaching figured out. We need to get better coaches because a lot of the old heads are gone that developed so many great players. They're done. They're cooked, And these younger guys just like not everybody's going to be a Sean McVay. Like we need traditional coaches who aren't always this experimental type trying to change the league.
Yeah, and it's the mindset.
We are so off topic, by the way.
Yeah, I think another mindset too is like these guys who were drafted are expected to be immediately good. You're expected
immediately. It's like the
show up and be able to be an all pro, and that doesn't happen. That's not realistic. It takes time to develop that.
Not everybody
is needed in the NFL.
Patrick Mahomes, where the first year he comes in, he lights up the league and wins the MVP. Like that's just not going to happen. He's a generational talent. Well, that's just not going to happen. And also, he was in the perfect system with Andy Reid being able to sit behind Alex Smith.
He had time to develop. That's the key for him. He had a couple years there to develop.
But that's the thing is, football fans are so. And this goes league. This goes just for everybody. This isn't just this one specific fan base. It's like this whole C.J. Stroud, Bryce Young thing. Everybody's already trying to call Bryce Young a bust because of the way C.J. Stroud is playing. But it's like nothing. Bryce Young does not have the same infrastructure that C.J. Stroud has.
Yeah, I wouldn't want Bryce Young for that.
And I think it's unfair to immediately critique. Like, yeah, sure, some guys you just know they don't have it. Like Josh Rosen a few years ago. You just knew he didn't have it. Mitch Trubisky, you just knew they did not have it. Like you could kind of see it, but at the same time, it was also a case of I feel like we put too much pressure on these rookies to immediately come in and they have to change the fate of the team. Again, think about it. Like Troy Aikman, he was 1-13 in his first year. 2 years later, he's winning the Super Bowl. Like you got to give teams time. If you're the first overall pick, you're going to a bad team.
That's right.
And you need time for the franchise to build around you. Now, sometimes franchises don't build correctly, and that also affects the quarterback. But it's like you gotta. There's a process here, and it's not going to just change overnight like with some other teams.
Yeah, and I think the NFL is specific with that too. Like, it's just people want immediate results, and it doesn't work that way because you don't have the big splash free agency stuff like you have in the NBA. There's not guys moving around all the time, which I like about the NFL, by the way, for the most part. I like the fact that
I mean, it would make things a little more exciting sometimes,
Yeah, but I kind of like it that there's more. It seems like there's more. At least it seems like there's more loyalty. But I know a lot of that is just the way the NFL is structured. It's just different. But yeah, I think it's just hard. It's just hard for guys to come out of college, and there's going to be a tiny percentage of those guys who even come out and are able to start at a decent level. There's only a couple guys a year you could point to and say, this person was able to be plugged in immediately and be make a difference. And of course, CJ Stroud being the guy this year. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think in general the Ravens, as we
finally get back on track.
I don't have much else to say. I was very impressed with how they played, especially coming off a short week. I felt like they had a lot of energy. Surprisingly, I thought it was going to come out because the Bengals knew they had to win this game, and obviously the Joe Burrow injury I think kind of deflated them completely. You could just sense that was when the game shifted. But the Ravens really had their way with the Cincinnati defense, which I didn't think they would really struggle, especially running the football, considering the Bengals have one of the worst rush defenses in the league. And yeah, I was just very impressed. Nice win for the Ravens. Got a one here on Sunday night against the Chargers. I'm hoping we can make it 9-3 heading into our bye week. I'd be very pleased. And, I just hope they can keep the momentum going. This season has been so tough, and it's just hard to nail down who are those elite teams. It seems to shift every week. So I hope the Ravens can stay at the top of that conversation. So, yep.
The Baltimore Ravens over the Cincinnati Bengals 34-20. And when we return, Carlos has a lot to talk about.
No. My two teams are last. We got to talk about your team.
Yep.
Oh, so I'm going next.
Yes.
Well, we got to gather my thoughts, so we'll be back in just a little while for that right here on the Kirby on Sports podcast. For sports fans living in condominium and homeowners associations, as well as business professionals, when you need a reserve study, PM Plus Reserves has been in business since 1990. Their studies are accurate and easy to understand. Check them out when your association needs a study. www.pmplusreserves.com. You can also contact them at 703-803-8436. Once again, www.pmplusreserves.com. Is it finally time to upgrade your home's interior? How about with an authentic farm table made locally from recycled barnwood? Shenandoah Primitives, based right here in Winchester, Virginia, makes farm tables, benches, tables, coffee tables, and a long list of other items for your home decorating needs. At Shenandoah Primitives, function and style are combined for great furniture that will last generations. If you're interested in combining the industrial look of metal with wood, or considering something incredibly unique with a live edge, Shenandoah Primitives turns those ideas into reality. Thinking about a mirror, wine rack, or other accent piece for your home, Shenandoah Primitives can assist with that as well. As a local small business, Shenandoah Primitives is happy to work with each client for a custom design or schedule an appointment to come out and view current inventory. Local, high-quality, handmade items can be found at Shenandoah Primitives. Find us on Facebook and Instagram or visit us at www.shenandoahprimitives.com. Once again, that's www.shenandoahprimitives.com. It is that time of the show, Carlos.
Let the pity party begin. Welcome one, welcome all, boys and girls. Come on in and welcome to the Josh Kirby pity party.
The Josh Kirby pity party.
That was right off the dome, guys. That was awesome.
Is that what we're calling this?
So is my
yes,
sad
this
music.
is the pity party segment. Welcome.
The Giants.
We did not plan that. That was
the
great.
Giants 31, the Commanders 19.
Are you a Commanders fan? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
What was this?
Embarrassing.
I don't know, man. You tell me. Go ahead, talk about your
It
team.
was embarrassing. I mean, you look, the defense.
Party, I'm just a guest. Unfortunately, I don't want to be a guest, but I'm here.
We forgot the party hats.
The defense, I think, played decent in the first half. Obviously, yeah, see. I mean, 9 sacks, but Still,
I mean, that's fair. That's
I mean,
fair. That's fair.
They had 9 sacks. It's a record. Like the Commanders had 9 sacks and still lost 31-19. That's like the first time that happened since who knows how long ago. The turnovers obviously didn't help. I mean, I don't know what to say about Sam Howell. I mean, 3 interceptions.
He was god awful. Yeah,
yes.
He was bad.
But is this another learning experience for Howell, or does this just tank Howell and he doesn't play well the rest of the season?
I mean, there's somewhere in the middle where he's just an average quarterback.
That's true too.
I'll give my thoughts later. I don't want.
There's not either great or crap.
He's mid.
There's mid, which is what a lot of quarterbacks are. So,
I mean, he's a second year. Obviously, you're going to have games like this, but how does
against this team you can't do it.
You can't
right.
because
Sam Howell is just physically he's not the biggest, so it feels like he has to make a lot of out of structure plays. He's constantly. It feels like he can't see over the line sometimes. He's kind of a gamer, so like he's Baker Mayfield, bro. Like he just is. He's just Baker Mayfield. He's an average quarterback, who's gonna make a lot of mistakes, but also will win you some games here and there. But he's not the guy who's gonna win you the Super Bowl. Let's just face it. I hate beating around the bush. Sam Howell is just not. He's an average quarterback. Like
he's not a franchise guy.
He's just not. But he's not going to be the reason why you guys ever bring a Lombardi to Washington.
Well, the fan base
is toxic. Yeah.
No. You gotta let me finish.
Most fan bases.
The fan base, from what I'm hearing, based off what Carlos said, they would bash him right away because everybody's saying, "Oh, Sam Howell's our quarterback."
Can I take a time out here? And you want to know why that is? Because the whole optics of the new ownership, people expect there to be an immediate change, and for your team to all of a sudden
the same thing that we just talked about with with player development,
to go from one of the worst teams,
one of the worst owners,
to a playoff team. People need to tamper their expectations. It's not going to happen. Like there's a process. Carlos and I talked about this last segment, and it reigns true here too. Fans just need to chill, and you're not gonna see a team win. You're not going to see this team, especially, win 11 games after how they played in the last 15 to 20 years.
Yeah, and I said this. I said this last year or last week. Last week,
is frustrating.
Well, I brought it up last week to you that I'm not specifically saying it was you, but Commanders fans were really delusional at the beginning of the season because I obviously have talked to a few of them, in my line of work. And it was all, as long as Sam Howell's an average quarterback, we're going to win the division. Like, this is like we have the team this year. And I was like, guys, like,
you have to have a good quarterback.
I was like, really? You're going with an unproven guy whose only game was against the Dallas Cowboys. Granted, he blew him out. He blew the Cowboys out, but it was a game that was important to the Cowboys.
A small sample size.
And it was just like, the problem is this happens. You guys got the new ownership, and you had one good game with Sam Howell to go off of, and it was just like you guys did the wrong thing, and now you're disappointed, and you just got to understand it's a process. The other thing is like, the new ownership is implementing their guys. Riverboat Ron is not one of their guys. He will be gone. He should already be gone. I'm surprised we haven't gotten
that's going to happen after Thanksgiving, probably Thanksgiving night.
If it doesn't happen, well, it just depends on how Thanksgiving goes because
it's going to go to I think they're going
to. I mean, it's not out of the question that Washington somehow pulls off this win, right? Because it's Thanksgiving. Dallas is weird on Thanksgiving. They just are historically. They're very odd on Thanksgiving. So. If the Commanders go out and win, they're not going to fire him. But if they hold close and Dallas has to, seal it at the end to win the game, they're not going to fire him if the team looks good. I don't foresee that happening. I do see Dallas maybe not blowing out Washington, but winning comfortably to where, it'll be, it's a division game. So we're not going to beat you guys like we beat the Giants because the Giants are god awful. You guys do have better players than them.
Well, you've got to. The ownership group has to clean house and, like Carlos said, install their own guys and also give them a chance to develop.
But I will say Eric Bieniemy's done great, in my opinion.
He's done as well as he could. He's done as well as he could. I mean, considering what he has to work with.
You can only do so much with Sam Howell. Sam Howell's just going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I mean, I think the offense has not been the main issue. I think it's mostly just that secondary that's been terrible.
Yeah, flip on the defense. We're talking about JDR and what he's been doing. Again,
he should have been fired a while ago as well.
Yeah.
They've waited too long. But
I still say what Washington needs to do is, because it's abundantly clear that Ron Rivera is not the guy. And also, when you really break down his coaching history, he's only had 3 winning seasons in 13 years.
He's been to one Super Bowl.
That's true.
3 winning seasons.
Whoa. Leave the Super Bowl out of it, because a lot of coaches don't make the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not a stat that really matters.
Oh, okay.
It's about
Cam Newton.
It's about do you constantly produce?
Let's be honest.
Cam Newton.
Nobody,
I wonder where he is.
Nobody
right
could
now.
touch Cam Newton until the Super Bowl. That was
True. But like let's put it in the main perspective. Does your coach win? Does he have a history of winning? When you guys won the division, you guys won with a below 500 record.
Absolutely.
And the NFC East was terrible that year, and you guys won it with a quarterback who was on one leg. So in terms of
Mike Tyson on the
I say what should already have happened is you let go of Ron Rivera now, and you make Eric Bieniemy your interim coach and see if he's the guy, because obviously he's going to get a lot of head coach looks again this offseason. Why not make him? And it was clear that his coaching style was completely different from Ron Rivera's, and it was a culture shock to a lot of Washington players in the offseason. So let's see what happens when he has the reins.
Yeah,
and give him the rest of the season. Don't put that pressure if he needs to make the playoffs. Just say, hey, show us what you got. Can you make this team more competitive? And maybe, sure, you guys don't win. You guys don't make the playoffs. I mean, you guys are still somehow in the playoff hunt. But at least show us that you're making a positive impact on this team compared to what Ron Rivera does when he's in charge. That's all I'm saying.
No one's motivated to play hard for Ron Rivera, and that's apparent. I mean, why should you? He's awful. He's awful.
Listen to Ron's press conferences. He says the same thing week in, week out.
That's what losing coaches do.
Yeah, it's annoying.
They make excuses and we're going to clean it up. We're going to clean it up.
No, but at the post-game
we're doing the right things. We're doing the right things.
Yeah. The post-game presser,
but these guys are asking.
People were asking him stuff, and he's like, whatever I'm gonna say, people are gonna take that as an excuse.
I don't pay much attention to what airheads I say after the games anyway.
Yeah, but he says
coaches, they're just blowhards most of the time.
And he says we're gonna take responsibility.
Like Brandon
coming
Staley.
tomorrow. Yeah, him too.
We'll talk about
he has
our defense looked pretty good out there. We've been making adjustments.
It's just like, dude, you guys okay. We'll talk about Brandon Staley later. Let's focus on Washington.
I mean, other than that, I mean, just what a disappointment for the fan base in loss.
Yeah, but again, that's on you guys though. That's because you guys set your expectations up for so high. Like a disappointment of the fan. This is what I expected. Like I'm personally not shocked that Washington's struggling here. I mean, yeah, I'm shocked that they somehow lost to, Tommy DeVito and these awful Giants who just got boat raced by the freaking Cowboys. And you guys have significantly better weapons, and you guys should have boat raced these guys as well.
No excuse.
That's the only thing I'm shocked at. The Tyrod Taylor led
this game is. Yeah, like for the fan base, disappointing because you have the third string quarterback. Again, we've seen this before. Tommy DeVito. Would we say he's a serviceable quarterback in the league?
He shouldn't be playing for anywhere. He shouldn't be on any roster. He should be on a practice squad.
But you look at what he did against
like he's not even supposed to be playing. So
look at the stats.
But the fact that he gets, I'm not even going to go into the backup quarterback situation and all that because I think the NFL is just a mess anyway.
Yeah, but
there's a lot of guys who should have jobs who don't, and there's a lot of guys who shouldn't have jobs but do. Why is Joe Flacco getting signed? Okay, I'm done.
Yeah,
he's 40 years
Because
old.
he wanted
Why
to
is
go
he
to
getting
a place that had his favorite store, Trader Joe's.
signed? Oh God. You have these guys that just bounce around and somehow stick around in our Trader Joe's. I just got that. That's funny.
I can't take credit for that. I got that one off of TikTok.
Oh.
It was great.
Pretty good.
I died when I heard it.
Pretty good. But there's so many guys who shouldn't be in the NFL still who bounce around, and I'm not going to say anything else, but I think you know what direction I'm going. But yeah, and then you have guys like Tommy DeVito who I know he's the third string quarterback. I know he's probably started the season. He was probably on the practice squad last year, whatever.
He was the emergency quarterback, basically.
Emergency quarterback, yeah. So he never should have seen the field, but that's beside the point.
Yeah,
and there's no reason he should be able to light it up against the Commanders, but boy, did he!
Yeah, he lit it up and made him look
game.
like a serviceable quarterback in the league. Which any other game, I mean, what was the stat?
Top quarterback.
what was the stat he had against the Cowboys? Any significance or not really? He only threw like 43 yards in that game, right?
No, he threw for a little bit, but it was mostly crunch time stuff.
Yeah,
or
I mean crunch time,
garbage
stuff.
time.
He had 3 touchdowns and almost 250 yards against this Commanders secondary. That is inexcusable.
Yeah, it is inexcusable.
Agreed.
Absolutely inexcusable.
And Jack Del Rio should have been fired after the game was over.
Again, that whole, aside from Eric Bieniemy, that whole coaching staff should have gone.
Yep.
Yeah,
they're going to. I think. I hope.
I mean, you think it's going to be at the end of the season. I think, depending on how this Cowboys game goes, I mean, they should have already done it. Like, this should have already happened. But I think because of the fact that it's a short week, they got to go to Dallas. They didn't want to mess with anything. But if they get boat raced by Dallas, it's over. They're letting Ron Rivera go, and they're probably just going to make Eric Bieniemy the interim head coach.
Could we see another fight on the sidelines at AT&T Stadium?
Oh yeah,
I don't know, man. Honestly, the Washington Dallas rivalry is just not what it used to be.
It's not a rivalry anymore. Yeah,
I mean it's a rivalry, but it's not the rivalry of the division anymore.
Yeah,
that has now switched to Dallas Philly, but which kind of sucks because I used to love hating on Washington so much.
But I'm fully expecting the loss, so it's just gonna get rubbed in my face. And get this too, like Carlos said, adding salt to the wound. You can't shower after the game either.
Just bulldoze FedEx Field. Honestly, it's a dump. It's a dump. It's been a dump since it was
conceived.
Yeah,
so cute.
And yeah, that place. That's the other thing. The ownership group is
they're working on it. They're obviously looking at sites.
The Commanders did partner with a construction company not too long ago. A general
where they're going to put the stadium
sponsorship.
Is the question.
So
it's going to be the hard thing.
That may help.
Baby, bring it to Virginia.
Every state wants it because it's just extra revenue, obviously.
Yeah, but they're paying service apparently.
Who's that?
On like stadiums, like for the beer industry, it's a pain to service them apparently.
Oh, I can imagine so.
I bet it is. But regardless, the Washington Commanders fall to the New York Giants 31-19.
Flat on their beaks.
Yeah. Yes. And they will wonder how their food got so bland on Thursday. I had to.
Dude, that was so freaking lame. Cream cheese strikes again. God.
Man. All right. Well, anyways, that was the score. And when we return, we send it to Carlos and 2 games from him. We'll be right back.
Hey, Kirby on Sports Podcast listeners, Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate here. It may seem scary or daunting at first to think about buying or selling a home. Well, look no further. Give me a call, 540-247-1527. There's nothing more than I love to do than help my friends make those transactions fun, interesting, and at the end of the day, productive. Look me up online, iconsells.com, and even better, find me on my podcast, Iconic Talk, With my co-host Megan Eanes on any podcast platform, we will share all the local news about real estate markets and our local community. It's educational. Look us up. We'd love to help you. iconcells.com, 540-247-1527. Josh?
You may have heard the saying, it's not if your home will get termites, it's when. At Barrett Pest and Termite Services, we're doing our best to refute that saying one home at a time. Our thorough inspections and treatments are designed to keep your home or business termite-free. Termites cause $5 billion in damages every year. A preemptive inspection is one of the best ways to keep that from happening to you. Because once you see evidence of termites with the naked eye, you can be sure they've already been at work for some time. Put a stop to termites and the damage they do by calling Barrett Pest and Termite Services 540-340-3922. Barrett Pest and Termite Services 540-340-3922.
We welcome you back to the Kirby on Sports podcast. It is now time to break down two more teams as the Dallas Cowboys roll their way to victory against the Carolina Panthers. And to add to that, Jimmy Johnson going into the Cowboys Ring of Honor December 20th, 1923.
Yeah.
What a year. What a year.
Jerry Jones is woof. Yeah,
He's old and senile, man. What do you expect?
I saw it on TV. I'm like, did I really just hear him say 1920? And
Yeah,
Jimmy had to correct him like that. I'm like, I hope it's not 1923 and it's 2020.
What I say? What I say? That's what he said, huh?
Yeah.
But regardless, it was
What a stooge.
but I was confused, Carlos. But I guess because Jimmy and Jerry just I sent him down to an away stadium. They were doing a photo op and waving, and I'm like, wouldn't this been better if you just were in Dallas and did it that way? But I don't know that whole.
Well,
that
it doesn't
whole,
matter because he's going to be retired at Cowboys game.
Yeah,
anyway,
but it was weird. They were just in the
Ring of Honor.
broadcast booth in Carolina and did it that way. But
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're going to do it like that because Jimmy Johnson works for Fox Sports. So they were going to do it on Fox. And, you know, it's not like they could really do a field shot or anything like that. Look, this, all in all, this is long overdue. You know, there's been a lot of talk of the curse of Jimmy Johnson, that the reason why Dallas has been successful and since the Jimmy Johnson era is because of this, because of the fact that Jerry's been very petty lately, or for all these years, and not wanting to put him, you know, in the Ring of Honor.
Which is crazy because that's his guy. That was his guy.
That was the guy who built who I won't say it was just him. You got to give Jerry Jones some credit back then as well. But, you know, Jimmy was the reason why the Cowboys won those 3 Super Bowls. Obviously, he was only a part of 2 of them, but that 3rd Super Bowl was all of Jerry. It was mostly Jimmy Johnson's guys, and a lot of those players on that 1995 team will say it, that Barry Swisher that year was not really a reason why they won the Super Bowl. A lot of it was because of, you know, Jimmy's, you know,
Architect.
Because of everything that Jimmy had taught them and brought to the team. That's why they won it that year. So a lot of Cowboys fans are mostly rejoicing because, like, oh my God, we might actually like get past the divisional round because of this. So, yeah, no, it was much deserved. I was very happy. You know, when I saw that they were going to do that and I saw them both in the booth, I was like, look, they can't, there's no way we're doing this and not putting him in the Ring of Honor. Like this has to be happening. And when Jerry finally announced it, that it was going to be it's going to be on the Monday Night Football game against the Detroit Lions. I was hyped. I was, you know, obviously I was not born during those teams, but just knowing what he meant to the franchise and all the success that the Cowboys still kind of live off of to this day. And to see him finally get rewarded for it, and something that it's clear that he has wanted for so long. It seems like he wanted that more than he wanted the Hall of Fame. It was much deserved.
Got that presented to him on Fox as well.
Yeah, but you know, the Detroit game is on ESPN, so it is what it is. But a lot of the Fox people say they're going to be there. So
no, I meant the Hall of Fame. He found out he was going into the Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking. Yeah,
which
you're
was
right.
pretty cool too.
Yeah.
Well,
so,
deserved.
I'm happy for him. This is much deserved, and hopefully the curse is lifted and Dallas can actually start to have some success from here on out.
So sorry, Dan, but the 33-10 scoreline, was that because of Jimmy Johnson getting announced, do you think?
The football gods pay attention to things like that.
What the hell are you talking about?
The Cowboys won probably because Jimmy Johnson was announced that he's going into the Ring of Honor.
Yeah, that's
it was a bad joke. It was a bad joke. Sorry.
Oh my God. All right.
Cream cheese, cheesing it up.
Jesus Christ.
It's gonna be a long
but good win for the Cowboys.
Dominating, yeah.
Okay, let's get into the game. Yeah, it was an average performance by the Cowboys, to be honest. It wasn't, and it didn't excite me. It didn't disappoint me. I was, I was happy with. Obviously, I'm happy with the win. But it was very, it got a little dicey there in the third quarter when it became a 1-score game. I mean, the Panthers were game, man. That team, put up a fight. We weren't going to boat race them the way we did the Giants just because of their defense. Their defensive scheme is more zone than man. And when it's, press man, the way like the Giants were trying to play us, we're going to dominate that all day just because our guys are just so much better. But when they're playing zone, they're obviously putting a cap on top of us and, limiting the guys pretty well. But eventually the talent difference finally, it finally showed its face, and the Cowboys eventually just created the avalanche that is,
the fourth quarter avalanche.
Football. Yeah. The special teams affecting the offense affecting the defense, and so on and so forth, and everybody just kind of playing, and helping each side of the ball out. Obviously it was a very, when you look at the stats, like, yeah, Dak Prescott didn't necessarily have the biggest performance in terms of numbers, but like he was still fantastic. He was still brilliant. CeeDee Lamb had, some good plays. Obviously he didn't put up 150 yards again, but it's fine. And, defensively, man, this defense is still good, man. And obviously there was a little leaky on the run defense this time, but it's okay. Like, all in all, I feel like Dallas never really got out of third gear. I think that they kind of held themselves back a little bit this week just because, we have the Thanksgiving stretch here. We had this past game. Now we got this game against Washington. And then after Washington, we have the game against Seattle on Thursday night again. So
it's just a crazy.
Well, at least they get a week,
yeah,
between games. So it's not, So yeah, it was a great performance. Obviously, Deron Bland, 4th pick 6 of the year, ties the NFL record.
Easy.
And he still has, we still have so many more games to go. So he'll probably break the record. And I hope he does. And it just kind of, it was an all right performance. Nothing to really complain about. Nothing to really praise too hard about. We just did what we're supposed to do against bad teams. And in terms of Carolina, it's the same thing, man, that we talked about earlier. Like I don't want people to start crucifying Bryce Young. I actually saw some good things from Bryce Young this game that I was like, yeah, if they can get him some weapons, if he just needs a little more time to develop. Obviously, he's a smaller guy too, but I can definitely see him being successful in this league. That's pretty much it. It was an all right performance. It wasn't anything to, get too high about. It was nothing to get disappointed about. It was indifferent. This is what we're supposed to do.
I was about to say, I think you expect this for Dallas, and they've beaten up on pretty much every team with a losing record this year. We still have yet to see them beat a team with a winning record. Now we'll get a chance to see that in the next however many weeks. They have a tougher schedule.
Seattle will be our next opportunity.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, Detroit, that's going to be that could be a really exciting game with some big implications.
I'm not scared of them. I'm really not.
They've won, but they've won ugly at times.
Well, they've won, but the way they win is they kind of have to do shootouts. Their defense can't stop anybody. They're not going to, and Dallas's defense we're going to be able to stop the Detroit Lions.
I agree with that. Yeah.
And our offense, if it keeps humming the way it is, we'll be okay.
I don't
It's
disagree.
the Philly game that I'm most excited for.
It's gonna be tough. Yeah.
God, do I hate Philadelphia.
We're gonna have to cater to Carlos so we can have him watch the Dallas Philly game after our excursion up to Baltimore.
That's right.
Yeah, we'll be watching it again together because we watched it the first time together. So we'll be together again.
We could stop at Buffalo Wing Factory and Reston again, boys. We could do
For
that.
Sunday Night Football, and then we have to drive all the way back to your house. Maybe
Mm.
not.
It's not that far. I'll have to check.
That's like an hour away.
No, not to Arlington. It's like 35 minutes. It's not that bad.
Oh, well, we're off topic here.
Well, so the Cowboys obviously with a cruising victory over the Panthers, but the game that's probably going to take up a chunk of this episode, the Kansas City Chiefs falling to the Philadelphia Eagles.
Poor Travis Kelce.
Travis my guy Felice is blowing up my phone right now about this.
Win right this second.
over the Eagles
victory. Has he reached out at all?
He doesn't seem like that kind of fan,
no,
to be
he
honest.
Didn't reach out yet, but he does remember the bet.
I know he does remember the bet because we talked about it when we did our live stream. But
yes,
but
so yes, obviously
you seem very upset, Carlos. And
I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated beyond belief. Hold on, let me speak. So yes, obviously the Chiefs lost. And during the draft show, as you saw, me and Felice had made a Super Bowl bet because, of course, it's a Super Bowl rematch. And the bet was that if the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, he would have to wear a Chiefs jersey, and if the Eagles won the Super Bowl, I would have to wear the Eagles jersey. Well, the Chiefs jersey did not show up in time for the bet to be paid. So I was gonna let him off the hook, and he instead decided to double, to make it a double. He decided to up the ante. He started to up the ante and made it to because we knew that they were going to play each other again this season, and we made the bet of if the Eagles won, I would have to wear the jersey and I would have to sing "Fly Eagles Fly," or if the Chiefs won, he would have to wear the Chiefs jersey and he'd have to do the tomahawk chop live during the draft show. Well, the results are in, and Kansas City let me down, man. They really did. It was just more of the same, man. It was just more of the same issues that we've been seeing with Kansas City. And Philly, man, they're so damn lucky, man. They're not playing well, and they're somehow 9-1. It makes no sense to me. Like, they should have lost those 2 games to the Commanders. They should have lost to Dallas.
Oh, that's very heartwarming to hear that. Thank you.
They should have. They should have lost those games. And they somehow have figured out a way. Like, this is just what they do, man. And I was saying this during the second half. We have to take advantage of these possessions. We can't let Philly hang around because they're going to get it figured out. Yep. And and this Kansas City defense, they were fantastic last night. The whole first half, there was not a single brotherly shove, like not one. They were never in position to do that play. Obviously, then in the second half, they figured, they got some things figured out and they were able to do it a couple times. But the fact that Steve Spagnuolo was in his bag, Spags was in his bag, and this Kansas City defense was just eating up this Philadelphia offense. And then for our offense to play well in the first half, for the most part, and then just completely have a goose egg and get shut out in the second half is unacceptable. Now, I will say this. The Travis Kelce fumble, I can forgive that one because that was just a beautiful punch. Like, when you rewatch the replay, Travis Kelce did
very upset after that.
He was thinking about who when he fumbled the ball. No, I'm just kidding.
Sure. I mean, but like he did everything right. Like Travis Kelce did that, and it was just the punch out was just perfect.
Yeah, no, it was
like, that was
a
one of the most perfect punches I've seen since I don't know, the San Francisco Dallas game. And so I can forgive that one. Obviously, Travis is going to be very upset, and he was very frustrated with himself, But the key thing here, man, is the Kansas City receiving room is just terrible right now, and it's hard for me to really comprehend how it is this bad. I know people want me to
MVS.
Hold on. I know people want me to bash on MVS, but I'm not going to. Let's just drop it.
No, he slammed his helmet against the wall.
You guys that joke went over your guys' head.
What?
You get that went over your guys' head. I'm upset.
I was talking Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
No. The joke went over your guys' head, and it's over. I'm not explaining the joke because now it makes it less funny.
What?
No, you'll have to re-listen to it. Anyways.
All right. I'll go back and listen. I'll let you know if I understand.
Anyways, but I mean, yeah, it's just hard for me to believe that the loss of Juju Smith-Schuster.
I just got it. I'm stupid.
Thank you. God.
Just drop it. Very funny.
Yeah. Obviously, it's over cream cheese's head.
No.
You see?
He means yes. He means yes.
No, it still went over my head. I don't know.
I even said what it was, but he was looking at his phone, so
yeah, I'm not surprised.
Well, I was looking to see if the joke was on Twitter or something.
Okay. I'm not stealing my jokes from Twitter, dummy. I'm not like you, who can't make an original joke to save his life. All right.
I still don't get it. It went over my head.
I'll tell you later.
Dan, explain it to him.
He said, "Just drop it like he drops passes. Just drop it."
Oh, okay.
Stupid.
Well, no. Well, I wasn't even referencing the joke because after the game, you could see
okay. Let me continue my point here. Okay?
Yeah, here we go.
Stop derailing me. Stop trying to derail me. Okay.
Derail alert. Derail alert.
It's already derailed. Let's get back.
So it's hard for me to believe that the loss of Juju Smith-Schuster was this impactful because for all intents and purposes, this is the same wide receiving core that we had last year when we won the Super Bowl.
It's true.
The only difference is Juju Smith-Schuster's not here and we have Rashee Rice. So, and I know Juju brought a more possession, more like he's a possession receiver, so he could make the tough catches and he kind of relieved pressure off of Travis Kelce. But teams are doing the thing of let's double Travis Kelce. And Travis Kelce did not have a great game. I understand he scored the touchdown, but for all intents and purposes, he did not look great in this game at all. He looked slow. He obviously he came up a little gimpy at the end of the game. And I just think it's a case of he's 34 years old. He's been playing at such an elite level for so long. He started out the season hurt. He just came out recently in an interview talking about how he's been thinking about retirement a lot lately and how he's still dealing with a lot of, long-term injuries and stuff like that.
I saw that too.
I think it's a possibility that we're starting to see him start to slow down and maybe he's starting to lose a step and maybe he's not the same Travis Kelce that he's been the past few seasons. It's possible, but it's also possible that he's just not able to get open because now teams are double covering, triple covering him and just saying, all right, these other guys need to beat us. To me,
and they can't.
And they can't. To me, this felt just like the Detroit game. Patrick Mahomes was giving these guys, putting it right in their breadbasket. Obviously, we'll talk about the MVS catch or the MVS drop, I should say, not catch. It wasn't a catch. That was right there. That was right in his hands. Right there, right perfectly in his hands. Yeah. And he has the worst body control I've ever seen and can't come down with it.
Yeah.
Like you're getting paid $11 million a season and you're not making that catch. You are a professional NFL receiver and you can't make that catch when the quarterback is putting it right in your hands and it's the most important moment. And this is why they brought you here is because you were supposed to be the deep threat and you can't do it. Okay, let's move on from that. Why is Justin Watson getting 11 targets in the game?
I have no idea.
he made some, he made some critical catches, sure, but he had a lot of drops too.
Yeah.
And it was very frustrating in that sense as well. And why is Rashee Rice not getting more game time? Because he's the only wide receiver that I see who's constantly making plays and actually catching the ball, but yet they keep taking him out. Kadarius Toney was actually great during this game for the few touches they had. Andy Reid said in his press conference that it was more of a health thing. They're trying to be cautious with the knee, so they don't want to give him too much of a workload. Immediately, they gave him a little more in this game, and obviously he had to step in during the punts and stuff because of Mecole Hardman's, thumb injury. But yeah, it's very frustrating because, again, you have this generational talent who's in his prime right now. And it feels like you're wasting this year when you have such a special defense that's not going to be together next year. Like, this is the only time we're going to have this defense like this, where it just feels like there's no weaknesses and they're holding up their own. But then this offense can't buy a catch. And it's just so frustrating because Sky Moore's out there just running. Like, he's barely getting any targets. Marcus Valdes-Scantling is also barely getting thrown to because Patrick Mahomes doesn't trust him because of stuff like that. He's making critical drops. The run game was fantastic. Isaiah Pacheco ran great, but then there's the penalties. There was the dumb, the really dumb, interception by Patrick Mahomes. We do got to knock him a little bit this season because he's been kind of bad with turnovers this year as well. And that pass that he was trying to get to, Watson, in the back of the end zone, he threw that right to Byard. Like, I wasn't even close to Watson, in all honesty. So for me, it was just more of the same. It was just, we came off the bye week expecting hopefully that the Chiefs would have had something figured out, and they played a good first half. You're up 17 to, 17-7.
Yep.
And then you lose 21-17, and it's because you get down to the red zone. You have the Travis Kelce fumble. You also have the interception. That's points off the board there. And
Philly got the run game going, which they hadn't.
Yeah, Philly eventually figured stuff out. They obviously had that deep pass to Devontae Smith.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it was just like this defense did all they could to contain this Philly offense, and they did such a fantastic job. I mean, Jalen Hurts did not look good in this game. He really didn't. He looked rattled. He looked very uncomfortable a lot of the times.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually they were going to figure it out. And they figured it out towards the end. Obviously, the Chiefs defense did a fantastic job of shutting down A.J. Brown. He was a non-factor in this game, which was beautiful. But it was just a case of the offense let the defense down. And Brett Veach, who you can't knock him too hard. I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs have gotten 2 Super Bowls. They've been to 5 straight AFC championship games. But at the same time, it was naive of them to think that this was enough before the trade deadline. And I know that they tried to make some moves, in the offseason to try to get some free agents, but they were kind of held hostage with the whole Chris Jones thing because they weren't sure if they could hash out the money to these guys, knowing that this guy, our best defensive player, is looking for more money and wants a new contract. And, with the money that you're paying Patrick Mahomes as well, like, you're just not going to be able to keep a lot of these defensive guys together. Yeah, and I feel like with how wide open the AFC is, I think they definitely missed an opportunity. Or they're definitely missing an opportunity. They're probably, in my opinion, I think they'll win out. I think they're going to win every game from here on out, but I don't see them winning the Super Bowl. Like, I just don't. And I run a simulation after every week of football, just based on how I feel about every team. And lately I've been having the Ravens beat them in the AFC Championship game every time.
Don't tell me that.
But I mean, but it's true. It's just like,
it's not far-fetched, but
it's not far-fetched. I'm not saying it's going to happen. Obviously,
the Ravens have their struggles in the playoffs. Let's call it what it is.
True, but
until they get over that.
If these two teams played, sure, I think the Kansas City defense would do a fantastic job of trying to containing the Baltimore Ravens offense. I think they would. I think it would be.
We also have a great defense as well.
and that's the thing. You guys have a great defense as well, and these Kansas City receivers can't catch to save their lives.
Yeah.
So that would put it to where eventually Lamar and that Ravens offense would probably get it figured out because they just have they just have better weapons than Kansas City, and you're not going to be able to contain Lamar forever. And he's going to make a play, and that's the way I would see an AFC Championship game going between them, whether it's in Baltimore or in Arrowhead. The way I always see it is it's an Arrowhead, and I can see that that being the most deflating game ever. But at the same time, also very celebratory because even if, let's say, that does come to pass, I'd still be happy just because it'd be the Ravens, and I'd be happy for you, Dan. Obviously, I'd be disappointed because my team didn't, but at the same time, my expectations are I don't think they're going to make the Super Bowl. I don't think they'd have the team for it. I think they have the defense for it. I don't think they have the offense for it. But yeah, they need to figure out something. I don't know if there's a free agent out there that they can maybe try to bring in. I don't know. Obviously, at this point, they can't trade for anybody.
Yeah.
But there's a lot that needs to be examined wide receiver wise because these guys just ain't it. To me, why not switch it up? Take Valdez-Scantling and Sky Moore, off the field at this point because they're not their targets are worth nothing. They're not making any catches. Again, like I said, Sky Moore just goes out there and just runs. Like he doesn't even get thrown to. Why not give Rashee Rice more? And why not try Kadarius Toney some more too? I understand he had the bad first game, but he was a former first round pick. You got to think that there's a reason why. And you guys also traded for him. So why not give those two guys out and don't throw the ball 11 times to Justin Watson. There's no excuse for that. Like there's no reason he should be getting 11 targets in the game. I understand maybe 4 or 5 because he can make 4 or 5 good catches, but he should not be getting 11 targets. And yeah, man, again, I hate Philly. I really do. They should have lost this game. Kansas City was definitely better than them, but offensively, they're just going to get it done. And, you win these games in the second half, and it is what it is. Philly is now 9-1, and God, I freaking hate them. I hate Sirianni so much. He's such a crybaby, and I can't.
He fits in the
I can't stand such
in the city of Philadelphia.
I hate him so much. But yeah, man, those are my thoughts. I don't know if you guys have anything else that you guys want to add in, but
you pretty much touched on everything I was gonna say.
Yeah, I think you nailed it well. I was trying to look and see what free agents were out there, but I'm having some trouble right now. So,
I just wish they would have gotten like somebody like an Adam Thielen or something like that because like that would have been fantastic for this team. I think he would have been great.
Somebody took the pressure
Obviously, there was the DeAndre Hopkins thing, but I think that was more of a money thing. DeAndre Hopkins wanted a certain amount. Kansas City didn't have the cap room for that.
Yep.
Obviously, I wish they would have sold it more of like, hey, like, the championship, like you've made your money. Do you want to be remembered forever? You come here, you're going to win a championship with Patrick Mahomes. Imagine DeAndre Hopkins and Patrick Mahomes. That'd be unstoppable. And I think that's the thing is just they have really they devoted a lot of their resources to the defense. And sure, they committed some resources to the offense, but they just have not hit. Obviously, Rashee Rice has been great, but Sky Moore has not been good. Valdez-Scantling was not worth the contract that they gave him. And it's just, not re-signing Juju Smith-Schuster, which, granted, health-wise, it obviously came out that his knee's like ready to explode at any moment. And it's not like he's lighting it up over there in New England, but, he was definitely a key factor in getting Travis Kelce open because, whether they cover Travis Kelce, then he could just Patrick Mahomes could throw to Juju Smith-Schuster. And if Juju Smith-Schuster was covered, then Travis Kelce was open. You need somebody else to help Travis Kelce because we can't just go based off of just Travis Kelce.
Yeah,
I agree.
You got Jarvis Landry out there. He's near the
I saw that too. I was like, I wouldn't hate Jarvis Landry, but there's got to be a reason why he hasn't been signed either. You got T.Y. Hilton out there still too.
Yeah.
And he
makes you wonder what kind of shape these guys are in too. Maybe they're not in football shape.
Well, T.Y. Hilton, this happened last season. He signed with Dallas around Christmas time. That's right. Around the time that he signed with Dallas, and he made a significant impact immediately as soon as he got in there. hilariously against the Philadelphia Eagles. So like getting somebody who like can get separation, because that's another thing you see. Sometimes they'll show the all 22 and nobody's open. None of these guys can get open.
Yep.
And it's just so frustrating because, like, again, you have Patrick Mahomes who's putting these passes perfectly in your hands and you're still not catching.
Yep.
So that's my rant. Felice, congratulations. I will start rehearsing and I will pay off my debt on the draft show next year.
Gotta warm up the vocal cords for sure.
So the Cowboys with a win, a Chiefs with a 21-17 loss over the Eagles. We'll take one more break, and then we get you to the breeze around the NFL and wrapping things up with the Kirby on Sports PickEm.
It's Matt from Shenandoah Music, and there has never been a better time to give the gift of music. These are our best deals of the season, with 30% off student band instruments, 10% off Fender American Pro guitars, 10% off Zildjian cymbal packs, and even more. And we've got gift cards and layaway available. Plus, you can buy now and pay later with the Shenandoah Music credit card, or you can pay with the firm. So when you think music, think Shenandoah Music in Winchester, across from B-Dubs.
Hi, this is Mark Peter Lynch with Guild Mortgage. One of the greatest joys in doing business over the last 30 years in the Shenandoah Valley is helping people buy their first home. Buying their first home and putting the keys in their hand at the closing table has brought me so much joy. If you want to buy your first home, a second home, or an investment property, or build wealth through investment in real estate, give me a call. My phone number is 540-664-4700, or you can find me on the World Wide Web at www.marksmortgage.com.
Welcome back to the Kirby on Sports podcast. It's now time for the breeze around the NFL, gentlemen.
This week.
Are we ready?
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of skips this week just because it was not a great week.
I understand.
Honestly, we kind of talked about all the good games.
Usually our teams are involved in the best ones, honestly, Commanders.
Very
Facts.
very funny. Very funny.
Not funny.
It is. It was hilarious.
All right.
And it's actual. All right, let's go.
Let's go starting. Let's see.
Oh my God.
I got to get it in order.
Take your time.
I got to get it in order. I did not get it in
Host
order.
of the podcast here.
Yep.
Cream cheese strike again.
There we go. Pretty terrible game. The Browns defeating the Steelers. 13-10. Matt Canada is now gone.
Yes. Rejoice. Rejoice, Pittsburgh. The vein of your existence is gone, and Kenny Pickett, unfortunately, will still suck. That's it.
The offense isn't going to get better as long as Pickett's there. I don't think it will. The play calling should be better, but the
hopefully we'll see. I mean, it's not guaranteed, but hopefully it's better.
It probably can't. The play calling can't get worse. I mean, that much is true.
It can get worse. It can get worse.
I don't know.
I don't think it will.
I mean, their defense is the only reason they have a winning record. So obviously, you can tell by this game. So yeah.
The Lions over the Bears, 31-26. The Lions battling back.
They fought back.
Great comeback win by the Lions.
Very great.
And honestly, it was a good performance by Justin Fields as well, aside from the strip sack / safety at the end. But all in all, I mean, I thought Justin Fields looked good in this game.
Yeah, I agree. He's getting his feet back under him and everything again. So. It's probably going to take a few more weeks until we can really get a good gauge of how he is. But yeah, the Lions had to win this game. Good job by them to come back and bounce back. That's what good teams do. They find ways to win. So
yep.
The Packers over the Chargers, 23-20.
Dude, fire Brendan Staley immediately. Like he should already be fired. I still don't know why he's still here.
And he has the nerve to go off on a reporter for asking
a
fair question.
Right. Like it's just that's how you know he knows.
He needs to get hit in the head with 2 coconuts, that guy.
He knows that it's coming to an end here soon. He feels the heat. That's why he freaked out like that.
Yeah.
The Texans over the Cardinals, 21-16.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud, man, he bounced back perfectly from his interceptions. Got the dub, dude. He's special, man. That kid is special.
He's going to be really good. They got to continue to build around him.
They got a good one there, and I hopefully they do build around him. Because he's a good quarterback.
And Kyle,
okay, yeah, go on.
Kyler Murray,
he was okay. Touchdown and a pick. He's
brought some life to that to Arizona. I think
certainly more than they had before. Yeah.
And I'm not saying Dobbs didn't. Like Dobbs played well, but like Kyler,
different energy.
Yeah, Kyler,
franchise quarterbacks out there. Yeah.
I mean, Kyler's kind of showing his talent. I'm not gonna lie. Like, yeah, I'm obviously I've always been a big Kyler hater, but he looks good. He looks good.
They definitely look more energized with him as their quarterback. Obviously,
I agree.
Which, again, he's their franchise guy. That makes sense to me. But yeah, this is a great win for the Texans. They got to continue to. We've talked about them before, but like throughout the season, they got to continue to build around CJ Stroud. He's going to be a special quarterback if they can do that.
100%.
The Jags over the Titans, 34-14.
Brutal game.
Jags look good. Great bounce back from compared to last week against the 49ers. This is the Jags team that we need to keep seeing.
Yeah, agreed. And Will Levis is starting to look like he's a young quarterback still trying to figure himself out. I know he had 2 touchdowns, no picks, but actually he played pretty well on the stat sheet. Maybe I'm just stupid. But no, this is a nice win for Trevor Lawrence and the Jags for sure. And certainly, like Carlos said, like what we expect to see from Trevor Lawrence, which is being one of the best young quarterbacks in the league. He proved it in this game pretty well.
The Dolphins over the Raiders, 20-13.
This is a game the Dolphins had to win, so they found a way.
They found a way. Antonio Pierce and the Raiders now sticking with it.
13 points,
but
just not going to cut it.
Yeah, I don't really have a lot to say on this game, honestly.
Yeah.
The 49ers over the Bucs, 27-14.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy looks good with the Avengers again.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Bucs just shot themselves in the foot every time they seemed to get any momentum. They turned the football over, had stupid penalties, just played like an undisciplined football team. So this the Niners are a special team for sure.
Absolutely.
And Brock Purdy, when he's on his game, he looks like
they're special when they play with the lead and when they have all the Avengers together.
That's it. That's what it takes. And if they can stay healthy in the playoffs, watch out.
The Bills over the Jets, 32-6.
Can we just stop putting the Jets on TV at all? Just please.
No, they need to get flexed out of every primetime game. Like, I'm kind of over the Jets. I mean, now they finally benched Zach Wilson, finally. And now he's the third string. Like, he's not even the backup. He's the third string. And they're going with Boyle?
Jim Boyle.
Yeah, who's only there because he's friends with Aaron Rodgers. I don't understand how some of these franchise run things. Like, they're literally catering to Aaron Rodgers so hard. And why? Like, he's a 40-year-old quarterback. Like, why are we
projecting him to come back in December?
Friends over. You bring Lazard and Randall Cobb, 2 guys who aren't contributing anything.
He had to have them.
Stupid.
And you know what? He's going to come back, and the Jets are going to be out of the postseason.
There's no reason why he should come back this season. There's really not.
I don't get
it. And if he comes back,
he's going to prove everybody wrong by coming back
next year.
What is he proving wrong? Like, why are you trying to prove this? Like,
proving you can come back early from an Achilles.
But you can't. You legitimately can't. Every doctor is coming out and saying this is not possible. Sure, he did an experimental surgery on it. But that Achilles tendon is not ready no matter what. No. And he's going to risk re-injuring it by coming back for what? The Jets aren't even in playoff contention, really. Like, what is he coming back for? Just call it a season, come back next year, recover that thing properly. Stop trying to prove science wrong because somehow he has become this anti-science, nut job.
He's a
like dope. Get the hell out of here, Aaron Rodgers. Like, I don't want anybody to keep reporting the story. It's bogus.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%, Carlos. It's frustrating because I used to be a big fan of Aaron Rodgers too.
Me too. But he's just gone off the rails, and it's become so insufferable.
Yeah. And it's just like it's just like, give me a break at some point. But, yeah, I think next year, just be smart and heal up and come back next year. Quit trying to say that people want you to fail and all this. Nobody's rooting for you to fail.
I mean, at this point, I'm kind of rooting for him to fail, but it is.
I'm rooting for him to shut the hell up. I don't care what happens on the field. Just stop talking. It's so annoying.
All right.
We're talking about it, so that's what he wants people to do.
He just wants to stay relevant, which is why he kept trying to interject himself in the whole Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift thing.
Yeah,
but,
I know.
All right, let's move on here. The Rams.
Hold on. The September champs are back, baby. They're back, baby. We're so back.
Oh wow, yeah. There we go.
They're not. They're really not. They're about to lose the next 3 games, but it's fine.
The Rams coming back to beat the Seahawks 17-16 with a Geno Smith injury.
Yeah, this was kind of an ugly game.
And the Rams just seem to have the Seahawks. They beat them twice. The 2 times that they played, the Rams have beat them, and this was kind of a game that the Seahawks needed more. They needed to kind of pad their record a little bit, considering that they're about to play, the 49ers twice, and in between that, they obviously play Dallas. So they have a 3-game stretch here. They could go 0-3, and
very tough.
Pretty much this game coming up might be for the division.
Not a great point. I have nothing to add. I think Carlos nailed that. So,
and last but not least, heartbreak as the Vikings fall to a point to the Denver Broncos 21-20, in which I thought was a pretty good game.
It was a pretty entertaining game. It was.
Josh Dobbs, young, but still making.
Dobbs is not young, dude. He got drafted in 2017.
Yeah.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Yeah, by the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Started with Pittsburgh, yeah.
So I guess
that's who should have been Big Ben's original replacement if they had moved at the right time. But no, Pittsburgh had to wait and let him. Ben
did not want to retire.
He didn't want to leave. Yeah.
Well, anyways,
regardless.
The Broncos beating them, but Josh Dobbs still some mistakes, but he still looks good for the most part.
Yeah, he's gonna make mistakes.
And you got to give Denver credit. They haven't quit. I think a lot of people quit on them this year. I know I was one of the people who said that they're Sean Payton
on a 4-game winning streak so far.
They're 500
playing extremely
right now.
well, and they've beaten some good teams as well during that stretch too. So, got to give credit where credit's due. Congrats to the Broncos. Russell Wilson. I wouldn't say he's cooking, but he's played well, and he's
definitely played well, definitely for sure,
and hasn't had stupid turnovers like he's had all throughout last season and part of the season as well.
Agreed.
So that concludes the breeze around the NFL. We dip straight in to the Kirby on Sports PickEm. Carlos Martinez.
Pull that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome all to the Week 12 Pick'ems. We had ourselves a week last week. Right now, standings are: Dan is at 42-24. He had himself a 4-2 week last week. Pretty solid. I am in second place at 40-26. Dan, welcome to the 40 win club. I'd shake your hand, but I'm not in studio today.
And you cannot hate on it.
I'm not calling you guys haters. Okay. I'm just saying I'm not in studio. Because this time you guys actually let me know in advance, and I made the decision not to go.
Studio K.
So yeah, me and Dan have hit the 40 club.
Feels good.
I also went 4-2. Me and Dan, we had the same picks last week, right? We had no difference.
Exact same picks.
Yeah, so smart people, and Kirby has fallen a game behind because he made the only difference of picking the Pittsburgh Steelers over the Cleveland Browns.
I mean, it was a toss-up, 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not knocking you for it. I'm just saying you fell a game behind because of it. And he is at 36-30, sitting comfortably in last place.
Right now, yes.
A 4-game difference between me and him, and a 6-game difference between him and Dan. You got a lot of ground to make up, dude.
Yes, sir.
We've got to pick every game.
You literally have to go 6-0 this week. And I may have accidentally sabotaged you. because of that. So the games we will be picking.
Well,
this week,
you saw my picks in the private text.
it doesn't matter. We know what the real picks are. Okay.
Yeah.
What's your Thanksgiving picks, which we really didn't need to see?
We did not need those. I did not ask for those. So
Oh yeah.
Okay. Let's get through this. We've been going for too long.
Agreed.
So the games we're picking this week, we'll be picking 2 Thanksgiving games, and then the rest, I guess, are Sunday games. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So we'll be doing Commanders, Cowboys, just because it's the Thanksgiving game. As always, the Cowboys have the Thanksgiving game. We'll be doing 49ers, Seahawks, because it's also a big rivalry game. We'll be doing Jags, Texans. We'll be doing Saints, Falcons. We'll be doing Bills, Eagles, and we'll be doing Ravens, Chargers. I will start first as always, as your reigning defending champion. I will be taking the Cowboys, contractually obligated, and because I just think they're going to win, obviously. I will take the 49ers. I'm rooting for the Seahawks, kind of, but the smart pick is the 49ers. They're just a significantly better team. It is in Seattle, though, so could get a little dicey. We'll see.
Yep.
It just depends on how Gino looks. I am the only person taking the Jacksonville Jaguars. I understand why you guys are taking Houston. Right now, they're the hot team, and they kind of have Trevor Lawrence's number. But I think this is an opportunity for Trevor to and the Jags just in general to kind of show like, hey, like we are the team that we think we are, and it's time for us to bury this Texans thing and finally like take control of the division. I'm gonna take the Saints. I just don't trust Desmond Ridder. I'm gonna take the Eagles over the Bills. I'll obviously be rooting for the Bills in reality, just because an Eagles loss would be fantastic for the Cowboys, and Kansas City couldn't pull it off. But just I don't know. Josh Allen is just not. I can't trust him. And going into Philly, it's going to be tough for them. So I'm going to take Philly, and then I'm going to take Baltimore over Los Angeles just because Brendan Staley's a stooge, and Baltimore is a much better team. And with that, I send it to our first place contestant, Dan.
Thank you, Carlos. Appreciate that. So yes, I will be taking the Dallas Cowboys over the Washington Commanders on Thanksgiving. That's the easy pick, I think, of the week. I expect Dallas to win this game by 2 scores. I think it's not really going to be close. I think they'll come in and play well at home. I'm going to take the 49ers over the Seahawks. The 49ers are just significantly better right now. Like Carlos said, I know the game is going to be obviously in Seattle, going to be a tough environment. But if anyone can handle it, I think the 49ers will be able to do so. And Brock Purdy and his Avengers are back once again. So I like them in that matchup. I'm going to take the Texans over the Jags. This kind of was a tough game. I thought about just flipping a coin and seeing what it landed on, because this is one of those games where I think it could kind of go either way. And I do like the bounce back the Jags had last week, but I expect the Texans at home and CJ Stroud to play well. So give me Houston. The Saints, I'll pick the Saints over the Falcons. I think the Falcons are a mess right now. That one seems like a easier pick.
It's not like the Saints are any better, but
no, they're not. They're inconsistent.
The NFC South is so terrible.
It's so hard to choose these games. Yeah, the NFC South games are like
I hate that division so much.
It's been brutal for a bit too, so it's not getting any better.
And the sad thing is, one of them is going to get the home game, and Dallas is probably going to have to go there, and it's going to be BS because I'm pretty sure Dallas is going to have a better record.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I'm going to take the Eagles over the Bills. The September champs have come and gone, and the Eagles are clearly the better team right now. So give me Philly at home as well. And then, of course, contractually obligated to pick the Baltimore Ravens over the LA Chargers, even though I think the Ravens are clearly the better team right now. And they'll have a nice win heading into their bye week at 9-3, hopefully. So with that, I'll throw it over to Mr. Josh Kirby.
So, thank you, Dan. I appreciate it. So, in the Commanders-Cowboys game, I am contractually obligated to pick the Washington Commanders.
If you do, it'll be a good pick.
And that is my only thing I will say about this game. This game, 49ers Seahawks, should be a close one, but I think the 49ers have the slight edge. Same with Houston, Jacksonville, but I think CJ Stroud in Houston has a good thing going, and I think they get another win on Sunday. The Saints, obviously, I just think the Falcons, they're sort of in limbo right now. Yep. The Eagles, obviously, over the September champs, and I think this game is going to be closer than we think. The Baltimore Ravens and the Chargers, but I think
it'll be close.
Yeah, but I think the Ravens get the win.
I don't. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't. I think Baltimore's going to win, and I don't think the Chargers are really going to threaten the win per se. I think it'll be like they'll be in it, but I don't think Baltimore is going to necessarily freak out at any point.
Yeah, I could see that too.
I think we've done a lot of traveling. I mean, to start the season, it was an insane amount of traveling. They haven't done as much here in the second half, so maybe that West Coast.
That could be a factor. Who knows?
Yeah, I think they'll start a little slow, but hopefully they'll find a way to keep it going. I think the defense will hopefully dominate in this game eventually. So
once again,
so hold on. So scenarios that could happen here. I could get a game closer to Dan, or I could fall a game further behind on Dan. And for Kirby, he could fall 2 games further behind on me.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
Aside from that, there's still no possibility of any of the standings changing.
There's no big shift, correct?
Yeah, there's still no big shift here. So, but let's see what happens. Hopefully, I keep inching closer because Dan, we're in a battle right now. You and me, we're in a battle. We're in a battle right now.
All it takes is one bad week for either of us.
Yeah, but I think the other thing is we're making a lot of safe picks. I feel like, and
maybe
honestly, Kirby's kind of the only one who's been making some risky picks lately, and obviously they haven't paid off, but.
That's why he's falling behind. I'd rather not fall behind.
But that's why I kind of fell behind in the beginning, is because I was making those risky picks. And granted, it was also the beginning of the season, so we didn't have a feel for things yet.
Right.
I feel like this is going to be a battle between you and me, and then like up until the playoffs, and then the playoffs is where we're going to start seeing like things like drastically shift between the three of us.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think that's a good point.
With that is the Week 12 Kirby on Sports PickEm. Once again, you pick with us. Comment down below when we post this on Facebook. If you get the most picks correct, you win a large cheese pizza from Anthony's Pizza, home of the Warrior in Stevens City, Virginia. Once again, a big thanks to Anthony's Pizza.
Hold on. I had a whole thing that I wanted to do too. So real quick. If you want to bet these picks and you want to copy our picks, I have the odds for everybody's picks. Since all 3 of us have technically different 6-team combinations. So if you do Kirby's 16 combination, you take the Commanders, 49ers, Texans, Saints, Eagles, and Ravens. To get a 6-leg parlay, you put $10 on it, you'll win $679 if that goes 6-0.
Damn.
That's a plus 6,793 odds on that one hitting. Damn. If you do Dan's 6-leg parlay and you take the Cowboys, 49ers, Texans, Saints, Eagles, and Ravens, and you bet $10 on it, you'll only win $146.
Yeah.
That's a plus 1,462 whatever.
It's the Commanders bet that puts Kirby so high.
Yeah, that one definitely puts it over the top.
Yeah.
If you take mine, you take the Cowboys, 49ers, Jags, Saints, Eagles, Ravens, you bet $10, you will only get $127.
Okay.
A plus 1,270 odds.
Wow.
So basically, if you want to win big money, take Kirby's picks. If you want to win safe money, you take my picks. If you want to get in a little bit in the middle, you take Dan's picks.
Yep. So yeah, just going off topic for a second, by chance, because I didn't get a look at this, the Commanders were plus 10 against the Giants last week. I wonder what the payout would have been if you bet the Giants
Who knows?
to win.
I obviously can't pull that up anymore just because those odds are gone per se.
But
Pretty nice, I'm sure.
I think it would have been a pretty hefty payout.
Yeah.
Let me see real quick.
Why should you pick them outright?
Yeah, I'm just curious if you pick
Okay,
them
so
outright.
okay. So we can do this. So like right now, the Cowboys are 10.5 point favorites on the Commanders.
It's so high. Oh, okay.
So, I mean, yeah. So hold on.
For an NFL game.
Let me just do this real quick.
College, I get it if it's Texas A&M and Fart State. Okay.
Yeah, but it's the Cowboys at home. The Cowboys are pretty good at home. So like, let's say you put $10 on the Commanders, you're winning $9 on a 10-point favorite bet.
Well, there you go.
So
it's not worth it.
it's not really worth it. I mean, you'd have to put big money for it to be worth it.
Yeah.
But obviously, we're not big high time rollers. We're not making $1 million picks, you know.
No, we are not.
Me.
We are not. But, well, this has been a really fun podcast as we wrap this up. A lot of high energy, as always, with some of our teams. And with high energy, don't forget, Don't Sleep Energy, don'tsleepenergy.com. And make sure you use promo code KOS Podcast for 12% off your order every single time. That about wraps it up for another edition of the Kirby on Sports podcast. Gentlemen, very thankful for each and every one of you going into Thanksgiving. Really appreciate everything you all do, and I wish you all nothing but the best this Thanksgiving coming up.
Really quick before we go, favorite side, Thanksgiving side?
Gravy.
Side? Ooh.
Or mashed potatoes.
It's mashed potatoes all day, but
yeah, all day.
I'm going.
You said gravy first, so you're a stooge.
Mashed potatoes and gravy, bud. How about that?
Gravy first. You first thing you said gravy. So that's your first initial thought. You're going gravy. I'm going mashed potatoes, Dan.
Sweet potato casserole. My mom's homemade. It's really good.
Nope.
You're not a sweet potato guy. All right.
Well, not white.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You are not. That is correct.
We don't do that in my household. No, sir.
We are thankful for our sponsors as well. PM Plus Reserve, Shenandoah Primitives, Dr. Dave Leadership Corporation, Mark Francis with Icon Real Estate, Barrett, Pest and Termite Services, Mark Lynch with Guild Mortgage, Shenandoah Music, and Don't Sleep Energy. Ladies and gentlemen, do us a huge favor. Like, comment, share this podcast out to all your friends. Give us a 5-star rating if you have time. And subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications as well. And as always, you can find us on all streaming platforms, all social media platforms. And with that being said, it's time for us to coast into this Thursday. Kick back, enjoy some football, eat some great food, maybe take a nap along the way, and then right after, get back on the workout plans because we might gain a couple pounds.
We still got Christmas coming up. You do understand that, right?
Oh, yeah. That too. My attempt at another bad outro. But with that being said, for the weapon, Dan Dembski, Carlos, the Swiss Army knife, Martinez, I am...
Ooh, that was Struggle City right there.
I don't know what that was.
Just end the podcast. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving.